When the hair grooming is complete, it's important to refine the hairstyling to make it look more realistic and natural. To achieve this, we'll use various hair parameters. In this update, we introduce an essential feature, hair modifier. Let's open the project file and explore the specific operations. Here, we will take the wolf hair as an example to demonstrate how to utilize the hair modifier to achieve our desired effects. First, enable the hair system and activate the hair modifier. Click the plus sign on the right side of the interface, and you will see the 4 hair modifiers available. We will start with the clump modifier and demonstrate its function. After adding the clump modifier, you will see that the hair starts to show a clumping effect. Previously, achieving random variations in clumping strength involved using weight maps or textures to manually paint variations. This process was cumbersome and often failed to achieve real randomness. Now, with the updated modifier, we can handle this through parameters easily. Let's start with factor, which controls the overall strength of the clumps. Click the button with 3 dots to enable the randomization function. This will randomize the clumping strength. The initial randomization effect may not be obvious. We can increase random range to enhance it. As the value increases, the variation in clumping strength becomes more noticeable. Compared to manual painting, this method is more convenient and faster and easier to modify. Random range is mainly used to adjust the contrast of clumping strength variation. The higher the value, the more noticeable the variation in clumping strength. The threshold controls the percentage of hair the random range effect is applied to. The higher the value, the less hair with the initial randomization effect. It is recommended to slightly increase the threshold to better exhibit the clumping strength variation. Let's then take a look at the clump. Clump controls the clumping strength but differs from factor in its effect. Factor controls the percentage of hair that has a clumping effect, while clump controls the intensity of each clump. These 2 parameters can be used together to break the regularity of the clumps, making the variations richer. After adjusting the clumping strength, let's move on to the next parameter. The clump type section helps modify the number of clumps easily. Previously, to modify the number of hair clumps, we had to manually reduce the number of guides in particle edit mode. Although this method is effective, it's time-consuming. Additionally, once the guides are removed, we may need to manually add them back, which can be quite troublesome. Now, with the parameters of clump modifier, we can directly adjust the number of clumps, making the process more convenient. First, uncheck Existing Guide Map, and then modify the guide distance. A higher guide distance value results in fewer clumps, and vice versa. The number of clumps is proper now, so let's take a look at kink. Enable frequency and amplitude to observe the curling effect. We don't need a quite high value of amplitude, just increase it slightly. The default curling is quite regular. We can use the randomization function to introduce some variation. The frequency below also supports the randomization function. Enable it and slightly adjust the value to break the curling regularity. Now that the clumping effect is adjusted, let's move on to the noise modifier. First, add a noise modifier. By default, the added noise effect is quite random. So reduce the randomness by adjusting magnitude. You can also use a texture to control the randomness intensity. Simply click the plus sign button behind it to create a new texture map, or select an existing one with some adjustments as needed. Randomness intensity varies from the root to the tip of the hair, and it's weaker at the roots. To modify this, we can use the curve. Let's enable the curve. The left side of the curve represents the hair root, and the right side represents the tip. By adjusting the curve points on the left, we can increase the randomness intensity at the roots, making the overall effect more random. We can also enable threshold to apply randomness effects to only a portion of hair. With this, we've completed the adjustment for noise modifier. For length variation, we'll add a length modifier to introduce random variations in hair length, which makes the tips look more natural. Switch to the cut mode and then enable the randomization option. This will achieve random hair lengths. Adjust length to enhance the randomness of the hair length. Compare the effects by toggling the modifier. You can see the natural and randomized hair length. Previously, to enhance realism and naturalness, we used to duplicate the base hair layer to create an extra layer of stray hair, elongating and randomizing it. However, this method was time-consuming, requiring adjustments to both layers if the base layer was modified. With the modifiers of 3D Hairbrush, you can achieve similar results with just one hair layer. First, add a noise modifier for stray hair. Compared to the last noise modifier, the magnitude in this layer is higher. Increase endpoint as it affects only the hair tips. Since this layer mainly enriches details which does not need too much hair, a high threshold is needed. Also, we can use vertex groups to control the randomness intensity in your desired area. After adding the vertex group, turn off the modifier and compare the effects before and after. Adjust seed if the region of random long hair needs modification. We've created the stray hair, then how can we control its length precisely? Here we provide a method where you can use one more length modifier to control it conveniently. First, add a length modifier. By default, the length modifier affects all the hair. If we only want to affect the stray hair layer, we need to adjust threshold and seed of the length modifier and noise modifier to make them match. Then we can adjust scale to control the hair length. Matching threshold and seed across modifiers allows you to control specific hair regions effectively. The resample modifier adjusts the number of hair segments, affecting curling and frequency. If the randomness is too strong, reduce the segment count with this modifier. After that, make further modifications as needed. If you want to increase the amount of stray hair, you can lower the threshold of the noise modifier and length modifier together, ensuring these values are consistent. The hair effect is now very nice. This concludes our overview of the hair modifier functionality.